Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we talk about all things Disney, but we're Epcot-centered.
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in our rankings and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when the only way to see Disney from the Midwest was to hop a flight to Anaheim.
This is episode 76, Visiting Disney in the Midwest.
Or, who knew you could get a Disney fix in Missouri?
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 76 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today's subject is kind of an odd one. Who knew that Disney is all over Missouri this summer?
They're taking over, I tell you.
It seems that way, but oddly enough, you probably all know, if you're Disney files, that Walt grew up in Marceline, Missouri. Hence the name Marceline Candy Shop and Marceline, which you see all over Disney marketing at the parks.
And Main Street USA.
That's where Main Street kind of got its zing, was from Marceline. Hey, that rhymed. Hey, look at that.
Oh, that was funny.
But beyond that, this year, technically this summer through this fall, you can actually get your Disney fix right in the Midwest. There are 2 traveling exhibits that are currently on display in different places in Missouri. So let's talk about all 3 of these: the Hometown Museum, the Disney 100, and Disney...
Immersive Disney Animation.
That's what it's called. I keep wanting to call it Disney Immersive Animation, but
it sounds like that would make more sense.
Yeah, Immersive Disney Animation.
And we're actually going to start there.
Let's start with that one. That's down in Branson, Missouri, about, an hour south of Springfield. And Branson is known as the live entertainment or live show capital of the world. I think it's kind of the bedazzled belt buckle, I think, of the country belt.
Definitely. If it doesn't sparkle or have an American flag on it, it's probably not in Branson.
What is this place?
Branson, Missouri. My dad says it's like Vegas, if it were run by Ned Flanders.
Branson's been well known over the years for the home of Silver Dollar City, the Showboat Branson Bell, and big theaters with people like Andy Williams.
Andy Williams!
We don't need to stop here.
Yes, we do!
The Osmonds, some other big names over the years have had theater shows in Branson. Well, some of them are still alive, I think, aren't they? Okay.
No, the Osmonds are still with us.
Oh, are they still? Well, that's true. They're not gone.
They're just not in Branson.
But then bigger shows have been brought into Thunder Ridge, now down in the Branson area, with recently Pitbull and the Rolling Stones. I guess you're getting old if you're performing in Branson, and the Rolling Stones were just there. So
well, Garth Brooks just played there recently.
Well, that's true.
So we're getting some bigger names, but but yeah, who knew Branson, Missouri had this to offer? So it's not only in Branson. This has several locations around the globe, and Branson's kind of one of these things is not like the other. When you hear the list,
you see the list. It's so weird.
Bangkok, Bogota, Calgary, Las Vegas, Toyama, which is in Japan, not in Tokyo as we found out, and Branson. So it's kind of bizarre that they chose this location, but we're glad they did because we are close enough that we were able to take a little road trip and go check it out.
Yeah, it turns out that Immersive Disney Animation is, well, we didn't know what to expect. It turned out to be kind of a big room that was a pre-show and a snack bar and a gift shop that led into a bigger room with, I guess, projection mapping type of video display is the best way to put it. The images are displayed from different films over the years, almost like what you would see on Main Street during the fireworks show, with the projection mapping on the walls and on cubes and on seats and the floor. The floor is interactive. I don't know how they did this, but as you walk along... That one
is puzzling me too. Yeah, it's really cool.
Like in The Lion King is one segment. As you walk along, leaves will spread out like where you're walking. It's really, really cool.
And when you go in there, even for the pre-show, during the pre-show, all of the images are static, except every once in a while they'll get like magicified and like the Mad Hatter's hat will fly up, or there'll be a little pixie dust that goes across one of the scenes, or Sorcerer Mickey will come to life for a moment. There's just all these little things that happen while you're waiting for the show to start. But during that whole time, that floor is interactive still, and if you run across the floor, the pixie dust goes in your wake. It is so cool. I tried to take a video of this without getting people's children in there. It was very difficult, but I'm going to post what I got because it's a really cool effect. But yeah, like Rod said, during The Lion King there were leaves, during Frozen there were snowflakes, during Pocahontas there were flowers, like there were all kinds of things. Oh, and during Encanto it would change, like Isabella had flowers. I think that was flowers, not Pocahontas. But during the Bruno section there would be cracks that would appear behind you. It was just such a cool effect.
Yeah, the show ran about an hour. Here's a good example of what it might be like. If you're used to the animation building at Disney California Adventure in Anaheim, this is like the entrance lobby area, but on steroids.
Yeah, instead of individual screens, you are surrounded, immersed by one giant screen.
So let's talk about logistics for this. It is in Branson over on Gretna Road. If you want to look it up online, you can buy tickets online. It also has directions to the exhibit from the freeway. Basically, look there online and you're going to get your best pricing.
And by online, he means DisneyImmersive.com.
That's the one. And then make sure and pick Branson, not Bogota.
Unless you happen to be there. So we were there on a Friday night. We did find out that there are no adult and child price separations, so it's just if you're buying the ticket, this is the price. The night we were there, it was $50 for the standard ticket, $60 for a premium ticket.
Which included a print.
Right, and they had, I think, 6 different prints to choose from that you got to take home, like as a souvenir. And then $90 for a VIP experience, which includes the print, the wristband. Plus, you get first access into the vault, which allows you to choose the seating you want, that sort of thing. You get a souvenir cup to take home, and you get a lanyard. I'm not sure what the lanyard's for, but... I
never did quite figure out.
I guess it just makes you feel like a VIP.
The vault, of course, is the actual experience, beyond the room with the gift shop and the...
There's some animation things in there, too. So if you're waiting ahead of time, there's... they have tables set out, and they have like instructional things to learn how to draw some of the main characters.
Like Epcot would be at Epcot, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the VIP experience also gets you a 30-day return time, so you can come, if you're a local, you could come back anytime you want to within 30 days, and once a day. So we ended up doing the $60 premium ticket, so we each have a print. And we got the wristband. The wristband is not a take-home. It's for the experience. And it's sort of like a Magic Band Plus in that it interacts with the scenes going on. So if it's Frozen, it's going to light up blue. If it's Lion King, it's going to light up yellow. It's kind of pointless.
It seemed a little bit... Why? Yeah, I think they used that mostly to show that you paid to get in.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like anyway.
It was a little weird, but I kind of feel the same way about Magic Band Plus. Like, it's not really doing a lot for me right now. So a little bit about the experience. Once you're inside the vault and the actual show starts, it's kind of cool because not only do the walls around you become the screen and the floor becomes interactive, but they also have bubbles that come in during certain songs. I think Little Mermaid, that sequence had bubbles during Show Yourself from Frozen 2. They had these mist bubbles, like if you've had a cocktail where they put the little bubble on top of your drink and it dissolves into mist. They had those, but they were floating down from the ceiling. It was really cool.
That was my favorite part.
Wasn't it awesome?
It was so cool. After having that on my drinks in the Disney Cruise Line,
yeah.
It was just really cool to see them floating in the air.
It was super cool. And then, of course, the interactive floor we talked about. Some of the other really cool things are the benches light up at certain points. And then they would play, of course, everything was Disney music. Sometimes it would be a single song, and they would just animate all around you for that one song that goes with it. So, like for We Don't Talk About Bruno, they played and Let It Go. Yeah. Both of those, they played straight through with footage from those films, so from Encanto and Frozen. And then some of the songs, it was a single song that played all the way through, but they would do like a film montage, which I thought was super cool. So like Try Everything, it started out with Zootopia, which is what Try Everything is from. And then the song kept playing, but the video montage changed. So it would show different scenes from different movies where characters were being brave or trying something new. And it was really cute. I thought it was a
trying
really...
the ice was one of them.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really a neat way to do that.
I did too. I thought it was really great. They also had a small short montage of super horrible moments, like Bambi looking for his mom.
Yeah, why do they throw those in these types of things?
Seriously.
They started doing that in some of the shows, too, like the fireworks shows, and there's a whole segment in World of Color with animals dying. It's like, come on!
Yeah, I don't know why they keep... Like, it just tugs at your heartstring, but in the wrong way.
Yeah, in the wrong way, yeah.
Yeah, in a way that you don't want to be paying $50 for. So, anyway, that I could have done without, but... They also had really good film representation. It wasn't just like the top hits that you think of. They had moments from Treasure Planet, moments from Atlantis.
Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
It was in there 4 or 5 times even, where he's flying with the eagle.
It was surprising how much. Fantasia 2000 had an entire segment that was for it. So I thought they did a really good job of mixing those lesser known or lesser viewed films along with Frozen and Moana and Tangled and all of those that are more popular. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So, okay, is it worth it? Is it worth the $50
That's
to
the
get
big
in?
Question.
Yeah.
Ron, what was your takeaway?
I think if you're in the Branson area already, going to Silver Dollar City or going, just even passing through on your way to Little Rock or whatever, down Highway 65, I think it's worth stopping off if you're a Disney fan. It's an hour long. Some of the kids we saw were loving every second. Other ones were looking at the parents like, why are we still sitting here watching Disney movies? So, I don't know. As a Disney adult, as a Disney fan, I really enjoyed it. The hour went by very quickly, in my opinion. If you're not a Disney fan, I don't know that it's going to be worth your money, unless you just have a kid that's going, Dad, 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 please, please, we have to go.
Dad, Dad! Come on, Dad, we gotta go! Wake up! Dad! Dad!
Son of the wake.
Before sunrise, he's your son.
Dad, come on, Dad!
Okay. The fact that there's no children's pricing to me, I think is a big turnoff, though, for large families. So,
I think it's a game changer for big families. To me, I loved the experience. I would have talked this one up to no end if it was about $30.
well, and that's the thing. Right now, if you go online to DisneyImmersive.com, they do have tickets on sale for down around $25 to $30.
And that would be worth it to me. You just have to look for those dates and times that have those discounts. They do not have D23 discounts, season pass holder discounts, Disney Visa discounts, none of those.
No local discounts either. So
yeah,
if
which
you're
is
local,
unusual for Branson.
Yeah, usually the locals in the Branson area will get discounts. I don't know if it's because it's a Disney thing that they're just not doing it, or they're still just trying to pay off the rent for the building. I don't know.
That could be. And I will just say as one little tag on this, because I love to shop and I love exclusive merchandise. Merchandise was very, very disappointing. They had a t-shirt, they had a hoodie, and they had a hat. And I think that's it. Everything else was stuff you could buy at a gas station in Orlando.
Yeah, or Target. Yeah, it was very generic. They did have a couple things that had the logo, but not even magnets with the logo. I thought that was interesting.
I love buying magnets. I love buying pens or pins, both. So they didn't have either of those. They had a whole selection of piggy banks.
Yeah, well, they had mugs and they had other things, but they were just generic Disney merchandise. All right, so let's go up the road to Kansas City. Around the U.S., they've been touring an exhibit from the Disney archives called the Disney 100. I believe this started with the Disney 100 celebration, of course, and
Yes.
It's been in Chicago, it's been in Philadelphia. It's now currently in Kansas City through at least November of 2024.
And Kansas City, despite its name, is in Missouri.
Yeah, there's a Kansas City, Kansas as well.
Yeah, but nothing's there.
It's tiny. Well, there's a racetrack and
As I said.
and a mall. I think there's a mall there, yes. Anyway, Kansas City's Union Station is where this is, right downtown Kansas City.
It's a great location. It's such a cool old station, train station.
It's still
really
the
neat.
Amtrak station for there.
But it's exactly what you're picturing in your head. It's brick and glass and big high ceilings, and it's super cool.
Yeah, it is in what looks like to be a ballroom or an exhibit space down in a basement of all places. So you go down escalator after escalator after escalator, and you finally get to the Disney 100. It is a walk-through exhibit, and each room has its own theme. You have interactive exhibits from the Disney archives, from the Disney family, who have donated some things to be shown. You have ride vehicles, like from Peter Pan and from the Skyway, maquettes and models and film cells and manuscripts, costumes from movies. It goes through every piece of Disney you can think of from start to finish.
Well, start to current. It's not finished.
Oh, no. Hopefully they're not. Yeah, they're not done.
Just to be clear.
Very good point. But there are things from Disney animation. There are things from Disney television. There's a whole large room on Disney theme parks, which was my favorite.
Yeah, that was by far one of my favorites too.
Just amazing.
And this one, we should say, it is a walkthrough, self-guided tour. You can stop and take as much time if you want to stand there and look piece by piece at the Stormtrooper's costume. You are welcome to do that for as long as you want. And if you want to bypass it altogether, you can do that as well. But it is a timed entry because there is a pre-show. Like all good Disney attractions, it's got a pre-show. And this one is special because if you've probably seen it on TV or on YouTube or at different things, but this one has the hologram of Walt. And I won't lie, I actually got a little teary at that.
Amazing.
It was pretty cool.
It's absolutely amazing.
In case you didn't know, we are big fans of Walt the Man, and seeing the hologram come out and greet us was pretty cool.
It was really cool. The timed entries are about every 15 minutes. The hours vary here, so make sure and check online for this exhibit because the hours, as far as opening and closing, really do vary throughout the week.
So this one also had some photo ops along the way. They would have like Cinderella with a background that you could take a picture with, that sort of thing that you sometimes find at the parks or at Disney stores, like that kind of.
Or at D23.
Or at D23. Yeah. Yay. Which, as you're listening to this, we are coming back from and will report from later.
Yes.
So overall, I was very, very impressed with this one. This ran $25 for adults, $20 for children, half the price of the Branson experience.
And I would have paid twice the price to see this.
Yep, these two seemed backwards to me. Technology-wise, like, I get it. They need to pay for the mist bubbles or whatever, the light-up benches. But this one, to me, hit all the right notes. It was the perfect mix of Disney history with Disney future thinking. It had a great mix of all kinds of different things from the archives, like you listed before. But I was just mesmerized. But they had so many different things to offer. They have the Jedi book that Luke and Rey look at. They have the storybooks that they started the old animated films with. When they opened the book, they had some of those in there. I'll try to remember to post a picture of one of those.
They had one of the old multi-plane cameras from the studios, which was, again, from the archives.
And they had a little model of one of the, what were they called? The Atom-mobiles?
Oh, from Adventure Through Inner Space. Yes, Atom-mobiles.
Yeah, Atom-mobiles. Yeah. And, I mean, just things that were like, room after room was just something brand new to explore and discover and remember. And it was just so, so great. As a Disney adult, this one was 100% worth it. A Disney 100%. You see what I did?
That was good.
That was good.
So, was this one worth it? And is it worth a trip? Yes. In this case, we would say come from far, come from near, and go see the Disney 100.
Absolutely.
Now, do you see the 100 and the Branson exhibit? Well, you can. They're about 3 hours apart. So, just take that into consideration if you're wanting to do multiple Disney experiences in Missouri this summer.
And, as I did before, let's talk about merch real quick. Much better situation than the animated. So this one was the same thing. They had different t-shirts, and they had long sleeve t-shirts, and they had hoodies, and they had zip-ups, and they had hats, and they had pens, and they had pins, and they had magnets, and they had mugs, and they had books. They nailed it.
Yeah.
They absolutely nailed it. So kudos for the Disney 100 merchandising department. Well done.
Now let's go over to Disney's hometown, Marceline, Missouri. So Marceline kind of ends the triangle of things to go do. It's about 90 minutes outside of Kansas City, so it's a really easy one to do with the Disney 100. or about 4 hours north of Branson. So that's your kind of weird-shaped triangle, I guess you could say. Marceline, Missouri is in the center of Missouri. It's on State Route 5, right in the center of the state. It's a very, very small town. The Sonic went out of business, we found out this last time, and the local restaurant that replaced it went out of business. So there are no hotels, no big restaurants. There is a Main Street besides the Disney Hometown Museum, and it's the Main Street. There are some of the large Mickey statues that toured around the U.S. or around the world years back. And some of the stores have plaques in front of them that explain that Walt ate here or Walt used this as a reference for something. It's really kind of intriguing to walk around and see all of the Walt Disney history that's in this small town of Marceline. So the museum itself is in the old train station, which is very fitting for Walt. We saw it about 12 years ago originally on one of our first trips.
We saw it in 2009 was our first time up there.
Oh, yeah, goodness, 15 years ago. Wow.
A lot has changed since then.
And now they've got a whole second story to the museum. I mean, it was already there. They didn't build a second story, but they've now added on to the museum space with a lot more of the exhibits coming from the Disney family themselves.
It was very cool because remember, not only Walt grew up there, but his entire family. He was a child when he lived there, born in Chicago, and then the family moved to Marceline, Missouri. They were farming folks, so they have the homestead there. They have a great big barn, which you can also go visit. That one is private property. You are allowed to visit it, but they do ask that you just respect that people live there.
This is where the very famous Dreaming Tree used to be. The remnants of it are still there, but unfortunately it was struck by lightning and caught fire.
Very sad.
Very sad, but there's still pieces of the tree available for viewing and taking your pictures with.
So back to the actual museum, because the homestead is a couple miles away. I should say that from the train station.
Very good point. It's not near the downtown. It's just a couple streets out of downtown.
Right, and the homestead is free to visit, but again, private property, please be respectful. But the museum is $10 for adults, or $5 for children, and $5 if you have a D23 membership.
Or cast members.
Or for cast members, that's right, Disney cast members.
Get $5 admission. Again, this is one that I would have paid 5 times the amount.
Seriously.
To go to.
We probably spent close to 2 hours. I don't know if that's normal or not, but I wanted to see everything. We wanted to see everything, and you could probably go through in an hour. I would recommend
90 minutes minimum, I think. Yeah. If you've never been before and you are a fan of Disney and a fan of Walt specifically, spend as much time as you can here. It does take a while to get here. It's not in a major city, so you have to make an effort to go to Marceline. You don't wander by and go, hey, look, there's a museum.
Yeah, no one's going through Marceline on accident.
No, that's a very good point.
But they have photos and letters and all kinds. I almost said props. They're not props. They're things from the family, from their childhood, growing up here in this tiny town. And the family's donated things over the years. And they have, like, telegrams that Walt had sent, like, hey, I've got something to tell you. And it's like, we found out later that this was because he had just signed a deal, or, you know, like, there are major moments in Disney history, and it's the actual thing that's there. It's so cool. One
thing that it came to light that I didn't know about was the Midgetopia that used to exist at Disneyland.
And yes, that is what it was called.
It was called the Midgetopia, was donated to the city of Marceline and ran in one of their city parks for almost a decade.
And one thing I had forgotten about on the tail end of that is that Walt had actually planned a theme park for Marceline. It actually never happened, but there are pictures. Like, what was it on? It wasn't like a normal drawing. There was like this sketch that he had done that was like on a napkin or something. Like, it was...
Yeah, there were several sketches of it that looked like they had just done it probably in well, back then, the WED offices. This happened in the 60s, so it was just before Walt passed away, and these were plans that he really was pushing to get something done in his hometown, or his town where he grew up. It is called the Hometown Museum, of course.
Not where he was born.
His hometown.
Yeah, but where he grew up.
Yeah, I still think it would have been amazing for that small town. However, I don't think there would have been enough tourism to that part of Missouri.
No,
Yeah.
even with that. Although they probably would have said that about Orange Groves and Anaheim at one point, so...
Well, and they had talked about a park in St. Louis.
Right?
So, you know,
You never know.
I think that's probably where that came from, was his love of Missouri and his home state. Well, again, the state he considered home, to build a park here. And so far it hasn't happened, but hey, Disney, are you listening? Branson could use another park. Just saying.
I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah.
As prices go through the roof.
Right.
There's also a lot of local history there. People who influenced Walt and letters and artifacts from them and their families. Walt actually, he gave credit of him being an animator. His father did not want him drawing. He thought that was a waste of time. That was something that lazy little boys did, not active little boys who were helping on the farm. So he got his start in animating from, was it the doctor down the road? One of the local business people.
Yeah,
and I
don't
can't remember now, and
exactly
I
now.
wish I could.
Yeah.
But
Well, you should go there and find out. Yeah.
But the guy asked him to draw his horse for him, and Walt did, and he paid him, and it was probably, a penny or something, a free ride on the horse or something. I don't think it was very much, but that was his start of, oh my gosh, people like my art. And because of that, he built on that and grew to what he became as Walt Disney.
So the museum itself, if you're coming in on Highway 5, just look for the signs that point you to the museum. It's really the only thing in the town.
Yeah, there's only two
the
streets. You're not
touristy
going to
thing.
miss it.
They do operate seasonally from 10 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. Sundays from 1 to 5, and they're closed on Mondays. Now, that is their seasonal hours. They have in the past changed their hours depending on, like, wintertime. But always check the webpage, which is waltdisneymuseum.org. That will give you information on how to get there and what else there is to see in the surrounding area.
Absolutely. One of the things that I liked most was there was a whole room that was the Women of Disney, and it featured Walt's mom, and it featured his wife, and it featured their sister, Ruth, who I didn't even know existed. So that was really exciting to get to see how she influenced things as well. It was just really, I loved it. I really can't hype this one enough. This was, of the 3 experiences, this was by far my favorite. And just because it focuses on Walt the man, who I'm just a huge, huge fan of, if you couldn't tell. I hide it really well.
So, was this one worth it? Oh, you betcha. Definitely of the 3, this was my favorite as well. This, again, is very easy to mix with the Disney 100 in Kansas City because they are so close. You could do all 3 of these in a weekend.
You could do the 2 in a day.
Very good point.
I would recommend that. To make a little Disney road trip. If you're somewhere in the Midwest and need a good Disney fix, any one of these 3 will get you that Disney fix, but I would highly recommend Marceline. And super quick, just on the tail end, because I almost missed it, I don't want you to miss it. If you do go to Marceline and you go down Main Street, there is one sign that says Main Street, and they actually added the Mickey Mouse ears and everything to it. So it's just one. It's on the corner, and I do mean the corner. There's only one. But you do have to look for it because all the others are not labeled that way. So don't miss out when you go, and I'll try to post that one as well. Oh, and merch. Merch was freaking awesome.
Merch was fantastic here. They had things for the museum that they had several different, even just logoed items with different logos, one for Marceline and one for the museum. And the merch there, in my opinion, is probably the most superior of all 3 exhibits.
I agree. And they had postcards and t-shirts and magnets and all kinds of things that had actual photos that had been donated by the family that were then made into these objects. And it was so neat. It was just, I'm still talking because I'm just gushing now, but
and it's merch that you cannot get anywhere else
right.
besides here. And it's a train station, so they have train caps
with
the logos, which I thought was really cool.
Walt would have loved that.
Oh my heavens, yeah. While we were there, even a train passed by, and it made me think, Walt probably stood very near here and watched a train pass by in the same kind of location.
Yep.
It's so cool.
We just opened the curtain and watched from the top floor, and we were just like, oh.
Well, folks, that is Disney in the Midwest. We do highly recommend that you come out and visit this area and see those 3 exhibits. I think all 3 are worth a look. If you've seen them, leave your own review down in the comments. We'd love to hear what you thought of any or all of those.
And which one would you want to do if you were coming out here?
Yeah.
Which one of those struck your fancy?
Before we go, we'd like to give a big thank you to our theme music composer, Jason Patrick Rowan, whose music is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. It really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production and a proud gold member of D23. Thanks for joining us today for episode 76 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sioux.
We'll see you in line.
Bye.
Why lightning strikes things, I still don't know, but unfortunately the tree is gone.
You know, being named Rod, you should know why lightning strikes things.
Yeah, you would think so.
But